So we're going to continue our series on pruning our fruit, and we're going to talk about this grape right here.
We are.
People are having a lot more interest in grape. They're easy to grow, easy to train in multiple different styles.
Right.
And there aren't so many, if you will, rules that apply to keeping the grape pruned to your liking in the landscape. And also, you know, obviously right now it hasn't started actively growing, but had it been foliage on it completely, it still would be fine if we hadn't had time today to go prune it.
Oh, sure. You can always do a little thinning if something, you know, you should always feel free to do that.
Right.
If something doesn't look right, if it's a little too crowded, if you notice a problem, if you see that something's being shaded, there's really no wrong time to prune.
Right.
And the main thing that I'd like to say about this grape is that, you know, we're not trying to start a vineyard.
Right.
We don't have crews coming in. We don't have trucks that we're doing spraying with. And so in the landscape, it's far more important that we prune for the beauty and the serenity and the joy of the way plants make us feel than it is to follow rules. So there are lots of ways that grapes can be trained.
Right.
Spur training is classic. Cane training for some types. Head training if they're grown in a container, so they basically grow like a big head of hair like Medusa.
Yeah.
But in this case, just from the natural development of this from the time we planted it, it kind of has this gnarly,
it is
old world
beautiful
look to it. When I walked in today, I just went, oh my gosh, that looks so great. I wouldn't want to touch it.
I know it.
So what I would look for here is the fact that this sort of cascading, swirling look is beautiful in a landscape.
Right.
Far more so than a grape trained specifically to a set of cordons.
And a very manageable size.
Oh, it is.
It's a perfect size.
This is perfect, and it's a great backdrop to the bed and anything that's planted in front of it.
Right.
So for me, what I would do looking at this grape in the dormant season is I might look for anything, you know, I would definitely want to remove the old fruit clusters that remain from last year.
And as you see, there are quite a few.
There are.
We picked as many grapes as we could, and you can still see evidence of how productive this vine was.
Isn't that wonderful? And people think that grapes are difficult, and they really don't have to be.
And you know, one point I was telling you about earlier, the way this is growing and the canopy that the foliage provided above the grapes prevented sun scald.
Right.
But more importantly, the birds didn't find them.
It fools the birds, which is a really great asset. So honestly, what I would look like here is I might do a little thinning. I would look for any dead wood. I don't see a lot in the tree.
Right.
We would tip back some of the tails that are going to end up growing across the ground this year. So we want to lift that you know, the skirt. We might lift the skirt up a little bit. And then we might remove some crossing branches that it has. But in all honesty, grapes are very patient about that. When we see how grapes grow in nature, they grow that way for sure.
Yes.
And so for me, I would not want to do anything that took away from this beautiful cascading shape that it has.
Perfect. Well, that makes it easy.
It does make it easy. Let's do a little clipping.
Let's go.
So no matter how we prune or when we prune, one of the first things we want to do is remove the old fruit clusters. Those are a place where they might harbor some disease that we could end up with trouble with this year. So all we want to do is just take them back all the way to the stem.
And then you also mentioned, Angela, lifting up the canopy a little bit so we don't end up dragging the ground.
Right.
So where would you start with this one?
Well, honestly, just anything here that looks like, you know, because we know how rapidly these are going to grow.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And so we would just want to kind of make sure we've got them loose. And then any little dead stems like this we want to remove.
And I'm going to go in here to the base. This one, what do you think about this spot here? We've got quite a few like crossing branches.
Yeah, we do. And like I say, grapes are somewhat patient about it, but I might remove the the smaller ones that are growing low and leave the larger stems. There we go. That removed a lot of interference. And then there's one slightly above that.
This one?
No, this one right here.
This one right here?
Yeah,
okay.
if you can get up underneath that one.
There.
That might be hard to get into.
Yeah. Okay. May have to get a different tool for this
Yeah,
one
it
with
looks
a
like
little
it might need a saw.
thinner. Yeah, I think so. I'll give it one more try and then I'll come back later with my saw.
Oh, you might have got it.
I think I got it.
Yep, excellent. Good cut, Beverly.
Perfect.
And then, like I say, let's just lift this skirt up a bit.
Okay. That's looking great.
Yeah, like I say, other than removing the rest of the fruit clusters, I think we're in good shape.
I think so too. And the beauty to me, like you said earlier, is the fact that it's just so, it's organized chaos.
Organized chaos, yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, I'll let you know when the grapes are ripe.
Sounds good, I'll be up.